And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host, Sara DiVello, and I am so excited to welcome to the show tonight New York Times best-selling author of 7 books, Danielle Trussoni, here to give us the inside scoop on her brand new red hot book, The Puzzle Master, out tomorrow. Danielle, tell us about this dazzling book.
So first of all, Sara, thank you so much for having me here. This is one of the most exciting things I've done in a very long time. So happy to be here. So The Puzzle Master is the story of an ingenious puzzle constructor named Mike Brink, who is called to an upstate New York women's prison to solve a mysterious puzzle that one of the prisoners has drawn. And when he gets there, he's drawn into this ancient mystery that takes readers from upstate New York to the Hudson River Valley, to this Gilded Age mansion, to New York City, where there is, where they go to the Morgan Library. And then it takes readers back in time to 19th century Prague. And there's this whole sort of excavation of the puzzle as he goes through the book and solves it. So that's like it in a nutshell.
Oh my gosh. Well, we have so much to talk about because I had the privilege of reading this book a couple months ago and it immediately became my favorite book of the year. You guys, I'm freaking obsessed with The Puzzle Master. Oh my God, I love this book so much and I can't wait to talk about every single delicious detail of this masterful book. So we're going to get into all the delicious details in just one second. So if you've been here before, you know the drill. And if you're new, welcome. We're so happy to have you. Here's the drill. Every Monday for Mystery Monday, I give you my handpicked featured authors and you get to ask them anything. So ask Danielle about her writing process, her research process, Prague, New York, the JP Morgan Museum, puzzles, riddles, a convicted woman who hasn't spoken a word in 5 years. My God, we have so much to talk about. Let's get right into it. So get the questions going in the comments. I'll get them over to her. Renee says, hi, Sara and Danielle from Southeast Florida. Hi, Renee.
Hi, Renee.
She says, I love the title of your new book, Danielle. I want to hear more about this book. Yes, so let's start there with the title. Is this the first title? Was it the title all along? Tell us about the title. Tell us everything.
So the title of the book, The Puzzle Master, was not the original title. The original title was The God Puzzle, which if you open the book, Sara, you see, let me find it for you. The God Puzzle is Puzzle 1, the God Puzzle. And that is the primary puzzle in the book that Mike Brink is solving, our ingenious puzzle constructor. And the prisoner, Jess Price, her name is, who is in a women's prison in upstate New York because she's murdered somebody, drew this puzzle. And Mike is called in to solve it. It's unlike any puzzle he's ever seen before. And this man has seen a lot of puzzles in his day. So the original title was The God Puzzle. And then my wonderful agent, Susan Gollum, and I were talking about the title. And she said, I really like the idea of The Puzzle Master. And that was one on my short list. And I said, I like that better too. So we changed the main title to The Puzzle Master and then moved the God Puzzle as, Puzzle 1. And then book 2, there's a book that I'm writing now. The next book in this series is Puzzle 2. So it just sort of goes through numerically through these different puzzles.
Whoa. Well, Renee, what a great question. And Danielle, thank you for giving us the scoop on this, on the story of the title. Oh my gosh, this is so fascinating. And she says, happy early pub day, Danielle. Yay. Tomorrow is your pub day. We have a mystery user. We're going live to a bunch of private Facebook groups. So everyone in the group can see who you are, but outside the group, you're very mysterious, very on brand. Someone else saying, where would be the best place to read The Puzzle Master? Oh my God, I love that question.
That's such a wonderful question. I don't think I've ever been asked that question by anyone for any of my books. So one little thing about my novels is that there's always a library in every novel, and usually a kind of, 19th century feeling library with leather bound books and big easy chairs and a fire crackling. And I would suggest you go find a really nice library and read this book there. Someplace a little bit dark, someplace a little bit cozy, a little bit gothic, maybe, if you can find something like that. There's a scene in this book set in the Morgan Library, as I mentioned, in New York City. And that would be the ideal place if you're in the New York area. But if not, I think any library would do.
Danielle, where are some of your favorite libraries?
So the Morgan Library is really one of my all-time favorite libraries. I mean, that's not a library that you can check out the books, right? But let me see. So there's a library in Paris that I really like at Quai Branly. It's a private library that you need to be like a member to go in, but it has this view, this wonderful view of the Seine. And when I used to live in France, I would go and read there sometimes.
That sounds amazing. Someone else is saying they have it on audio. Ooh, have you listened to it on audio yet, Danielle?
So I haven't, but Edoardo Ballerini, the performer, is my ideal audio person. And I approached him over a year ago before this book was even finished and said, Edoardo, would you please do the performance? And he agreed. So I bet it's just absolutely amazing.
Whoa, I love that you approached the voice. I've never heard of the author approaching the voice. That's so cool.
He's that good.
Wow, he's that good. Debbie, welcome to the conversation. And she says, what type of research did you have to do? Did you have to research puzzles and also all the settings? Yes, tell us all about the research because I love research.
So much research. And hi, Debbie. Well, all right, there's two tracks here. Like, one is the research about the places, because there's a lot of places in this book. This book moves very fast and it takes readers to locations all over the world, mostly in New York State, but also, as I said, Prague. And so I went to a lot of these places. The Gilded Age Mansion that's mentioned in the book is based on a place called Wilderstein in south of Rhinebeck, New York. And I went there I had a guide who like showed me all of the rooms and told me all the history. I went to Prague, not recently. I went to Prague quite a few years ago, but going there and doing the research was really important. And I did a lot of reading and looked up pictures of my time there. But I think maybe the most challenging research that I did was about puzzles and about puzzle masters, because I am not, I have to admit, not a puzzle master myself. And I'm actually pretty bad at math. So finding people who could help me construct the puzzles that are in the book, because the story moves around plot points that are puzzles. So if you love puzzles, that will be really fun for you to solve them. If not, you can move past them anyway. But so I was introduced to Will Shortz, who is the New York Times games page editor and, puzzle master extraordinaire for NPR. And he actually brought me to his home and showed me his puzzle library. And this was one of those aha moments for me as a writer, because I was able to see how my character would be living. My character, Mike Brink, he's always in his head. He's always doing puzzles. He has tons of puzzles in his home. And so walking through Will Shortz's home was really completely inspiring and just a game changer for that character.
Whoa, a puzzle library. Oh my God, that's so cool. Okay, wait, Danielle, how long did it take you to write this book with all the research, all of the, the puzzle creators, puzzle library? I mean, this book is so rich and so meaty, and I learned so much, and I love to learn as I'm also being sucked into this, addicting story. How long did it take you?
So from beginning to end, it took me about 2.5 years. And I love reading books that teach me things too, right? I love the density of, learning about a completely different field that I didn't know about. So I did want to put all of the research into this one. So it did take me a little bit longer than I wanted. But yeah, about 2.5 years.
I mean, honestly, for the depth and breadth of fabulous information in this, I think 2.5 years seems really, really fast. Renee's saying that's such a great question that Debbie asked. Totally. She wants to know, how did you come up with the premise for the Puzzle Master? Oh, that's such a great question.
That's a really good question, because it didn't start the way people would normally think it would, right? I didn't start with, I want to write a story about this character. The character actually came in after I constructed the puzzle. I wanted to create a puzzle that had a certain element of research in it that I was really interested in. And so I actually wrote about Jess Price, the prisoner, first. And I wrote about her discovering this puzzle and what it did, and like the 19th century Prague element which explains where this puzzle came from. And I sort of like reverse engineered, and I got to this point where I needed someone to solve the puzzle. And that's when I knew I needed a genius, right? And I started thinking, like, what kind of genius? And I played with different types of characters that could solve these puzzles. And then I discovered something called acquired savant syndrome, which is an actual medical condition where one has a traumatic brain injury, and it changes part of the brain in a way that allows someone to develop a very extraordinary skill. And in Mike Brink's case, that skill is mathematics and puzzles and patterns. And so when I discovered this condition, I knew I had to make that the primary basis of my character.
Well, you found yourself a genius and a very lovable, I just want to be Mike Brink's friend. Because he's such a wonderful character, and he has a little dachshund named Conundrum with Connie, and I just want to like hang out with little Connie. Okay, Renee has another great question. Danielle, how many books will be in this series? Is this a series? Tell us all the things.
So it is a series. I'm not sure how many books will be in the series. I have the next one about 3/4 of the way written. So I'm working on that. And we're hoping that one will be published next September. So that one's coming soon. And then I have sort of in my back pocket, the next book. That's sort of macerating, and I'm thinking about that one. And that one I'm hoping is set in Paris.
Oh my gosh, where we've just learned that you used to live and your favorite library is with the view of the Seine. So I can't wait to hear about that. And our mysterious friend was asking where the best place to read the book is, saying, if prison cell is not an option, then a library. Exactly. Danielle, so let's talk about the prison, because Jess Price, who has been convicted of murdering her lover, has been in prison for 5 years and has not spoken a word. She's never defended herself. She's never denied it. She's never said a word. So tell us, and there's a lot of scenes in this prison. Did you go into a prison? How did you research the prison part of it?
So that's the only location that I didn't actually go into because I couldn't. Right. I wasn't able to get permission to go into a prison. And so I did a lot of that remotely. Like, I did that online. I looked at photographs. I read, descriptions of people who have been in prison. But I didn't actually go there. And Jess Price is an interesting character, partially because when Mike Brink meets her, there's just this crazy chemistry immediately. And he's someone, a result of this syndrome that he has, acquired savant syndrome, is that he has a hard time connecting with people. I mean, it's not that he doesn't feel things and he doesn't want to be connected to people, but it's hard with, I guess, so much going on in his brain. But when he meets her, like, all of the fog clears and he feels this very intense connection. He starts having dreams about her. And so she herself really pulls him into the mystery as much as the puzzle.
Ooh, I am loving this. Renee saying this is fascinating, Danielle. Thank you for answering her question. I think we're all still thinking about the puzzle library. Yes, we're all still thinking about the puzzle library. I can't even imagine that. I mean, that's so cool. And I only want to befriend that guy and go to his house. Does the puzzle guy have a hidden room in his house?
Not well, it stayed hidden if he does. He didn't show me.
You didn't solve the puzzle that let you
I guess
into
I
the
didn't
hidden
solve the
room.
puzzle. It wasn't. I didn't go on the puzzle hunt, and I didn't get the hidden room. Will Shorts and I are actually doing an event together in Beacon on the 17th of June, Beacon, New York. So if anyone is in the area, I know people are everywhere. It's going to be a really fun event because I get to ask him all the questions that I didn't ask him when I met him. And so, yeah, maybe I'll ask him if there's a hidden room in his house.
Ooh, or maybe you could do a live stream for the rest of us who can't get there, because I think we
That would
all
be
want to
amazing.
hear about the Puzzle Master. Alan, welcome to the conversation. Did you draw inspiration from any particular books or authors for the Puzzle Master?
That's such a good question because I feel like, all of my influences sort of funneled into it, but there wasn't one. Because, what I'm seeing from readers, reviews and the reactions that people have given me is that the book has a lot of elements. It's a thriller, but there are some elements of historical fiction here because we do go back to 19th century Prague. And there are elements, slight elements of horror um, uh, in this as well. And so I think rather than being influenced by one person, I sort of cherry picked and was influenced by a bunch of people. Some of my big influences, I do love writers like Dan Brown. I love writers like Umberto Eco. I love historical fiction. I love Gothic fiction. Daphne du Maurier is one of my favorite writers. So all of those influence sort of came together to create something. But, primarily the book is really contemporary feeling, I think, right? There's a lot of influences from other writers that have a sort of more of a historical feeling. Yeah, I really feel like it feels very contemporary.
The book feels super contemporary, super current, super present with, and I cannot say more, but the final mind-blowing twist is so current and so needed and so powerful and so poignant. And y'all, you have to buy this book. You have to buy this book. And it is out tomorrow. So here is the link where you can, no matter where you're watching from, you can pre-order tonight. And our dear friends at Murder by the Book, our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore, will ship it out to you tomorrow so that you too can get your little hands on the Puzzle Master and see if you want to solve these puzzles or if you just like to look at how beautiful they are. So here is that link. No matter where you're watching from, click and pre-order, y'all. Click and pre-order. Trust DiVello. You're gonna love this one. I absolutely loved it. Renee saying, how exciting. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. I'm so excited. Ooh, Renee, does Murder by the Book have signed copies of the Puzzle Master? Danielle, do they, or can we, if not, do they have them or no?
They don't, but I am sending a big bundle of book plates.
To Murder by the Book?
To Murder by the Book. I'm going to send out a big bunch. I've signed a whole bunch of them. But
Okay.
if you would like one that's personalized to you, you can write to me through my website and I'll make sure to get you one.
Ooh, okay. You heard it here. So I'm going to give you guys the link to DanielleTrussoni.com. It's right here. And you can send Danielle a message with a copy of your receipt and she will get you a signed personalized book plate. I just want to remind you, signed personalized book plates make the best gifts. So we've got a lot of holidays coming up. I stockpile signed books all throughout the year so that Christmas is already done. So grab it. You're going to love it. Hey, readers, Gotta Read joining us from YouTube. So good to see you pop up as always. She wants to know, how does Mike Brink's condition influence his relationship with his family members and friends? Such a great question.
That's such a great question. So he developed this condition at 17, right? So he was just a normal person leading a normal life. He was very talented. He was a talented athlete, and he was playing football and was hit hard, had this brain injury. And then for a few months after that, he was just in this like watery gray area where he was like, what's happening to me? Who am I? I don't understand what's going on. And it's his mother who really pulls him out. He was almost suicidal when it was happening because he was so confused about what was happening to him. And one night there's a scene in the book where there's one night where he's in the kitchen at like 3 a.m, just distraught because he's seeing patterns and colors, and he's all of these things are in his head, and his mom really like grounds him and brings him down, and then she is the one that takes him and finds him the right care. And this doctor that he meets, who I call Dr. Travers in the book, really guides him the rest of his life. And it becomes a sort of solid reference point for Mike, because what he has is so rare. Only 50 people in the world have been documented with this condition. And that doctor is someone who really specializes in it. So it disrupts his relationship with his family and friends. I think it made him and his mom closer because his mom really like saved him. But he went, so after he gets this condition, he stops athletics and he really just moves into sort of like puzzle constructing and puzzles. But it's not easy for him to make friends. He's someone who has to try twice as hard to connect with people, which makes him, for me, very endearing. I feel like writers and people who spend a lot of time alone in their room, right, making stuff up, feel that way, right? It's hard to connect with people sometimes. And so I really loved exploring that aspect of his personality.
Thank you for that wonderful question. Readers got to read. And Danielle, thank you for that wonderful answer. Renee is saying, thank you so much for the option of the signed, personalized book plate. This is so sweet, Danielle. And she wants to know, do you know anyone personally with this condition, with the acquired savant syndrome?
I don't. I wish that I did on the one hand, but on the other hand, I'm kind of a little bit wary about meeting someone like that because I've imagined this completely whole, complicated character. And I feel like if I meet someone, it might influence that or like flatten out what I've imagined. I did read a lot of memoirs by people. There are a few memoirs by people who have this condition, and I did read some of them, and that really helped me, especially understanding how scary it is in the beginning, right? Because this is a condition where we all think, oh yeah, it would be fabulous to acquire some amazing skill. Like some of these people acquire a facility with foreign languages. Suddenly they can learn Korean in 2 days, stuff like that, right? It's just crazy. And, another person was struck by lightning and had this happen and could suddenly play classical music in a way that he couldn't before. So, I mean, it's absolutely fascinating, but imagine being inside that body, like realizing like this is happening to you, and it's terrifying. So yeah, I haven't met anyone like that. Maybe someday I will. Maybe now that I've written the book, someone will reach out.
Oh my gosh, you have to keep us posted. That would be so cool. That would be amazing. Um, I want to get into Danielle, I want to get into some of the amazing praise that your book has earned. Jean Kwok, author of Searching for Sylvie, Lee raves, addictive and effervescent, a tantalizing and delightful read that engages both the heart and the mind. What beautiful, beautiful words. Chris Pavoni saying, an absolute gem of suspense with a wholly original and unforgettable protagonist, a propulsive plot with diabolic twists, and a pure reading pleasure on every page. I loved it. So let's talk about your process. Let's talk about these diabolic twists. So are you a plotter? Do you say, okay, I'm going to put a diabolic twist, here, here, and here? Do you go back and say more diabolic on page 3, please? Let us into your process. How's it go?
Oh, I love that. I'm kind of both, someone who plots and someone who just wings it. What I start with mostly with every book is a sort of general vibe or like, I want it to feel this way. And I, generally speaking, know the one thing that I want to communicate. And in this case, it was the solution to this puzzle, which is, very important to me. And also there was a lot of research that went into constructing that puzzle, and I really wanted to use it. I go back and basically I'll make an outline for the first 50 pages, very loose. Like this happens in the first movement of the book. We have to get to this point. And I'll do maybe 5 or 6 lines, like this happens, this happens, this happens. And I'll just write a really bad draft. I'll write a really sloppy first draft. And then I'll do the same thing for the next 50 or 75 pages and so on until I have a very kind of loose sloppy first entire draft, and then I rewrite it. Like I go through and I create those twists and those surprises
Ooh.
out of that raw
Ooh.
stuff.
Out of that these raw ingredients, you
Yeah.
marinate and sizzle up something utterly delicious. Well, it is clearly working because people are just raving. Janelle Brown, who was on the show for her last book, raves The Puzzle Master as a riveting, beautifully layered, fun-paced page turner. You will want to clear your calendar for this one. And the reason I want to talk about that is because there are so many layers. And so I felt so deeply fed by this book. I was turning the pages so fast and I was staying up until 3 a.m. And then I was actually so scared. I had to move the book out of the bedroom. Like, remember the Friends episode where Joey had to put the Stephen King book in the freezer because it was like too scary? I actually had to get up and move it outside because I was outside and close the door because I thought, oh God, I don't want it to get me. But it was so good. But then the deeper meanings and the layers are just, I felt very deeply fed by this book as well. And I think that is an unusual and an incredibly valuable thing. So I just wanted to honor that part of your work as well, Danielle.
Oh, thank you.
Steve Berry raves, this is, quote, my kind of thriller. He is the author of many books, including The Last Kingdom, and he is not the only one who's raving. Justin Cronin saying, utterly absorbing. The master of the title isn't the only master here. The word applies equally to the author of this fabulous novel. This is Master Trussoni here with us tonight, and she just appeared in the Minneapolis Star Tribune as the summer must read. Congratulations on that. Lisa Scottolini, author of What Happened to the Bennetts and many other books, calls this book a thrill ride through space and time. I'm going to pop this up so we can all read it. She said, this novel is so original that I was happy to be taken wherever it leads me. And having read it, I have to say, it did not take me where I was expecting to go, but I ended up being so much happier when I got there because, oh my God, that twist at the end, Danielle, that twist at the end. Oh my God. Oh my God. Renee saying, I need my pup to protect me. Pilu was at REM 5. She wasn't like, yeah, I think if anything evil had come into the room, she might have woken up, but I was worried, like I had to be out there on my own. Pilu and Conundrum are adorable to look at, but not the best attack dogs.
No, they would be best friends for sure.
Oh my gosh, I love it. The book list calls this book a surefire hit. Now, Danielle, is there anything that you can tell us about the next book in the Mike Brink series, or not yet?
Oh, I would love to. So, puzzle 2 is called The Puzzle Box, and it's about a Japanese puzzle box. I don't know if you know what that is, but they're these wooden boxes that when you hold one, it just looks, very smooth, like a regular wooden box. But then you start finicking with it and pushing, and suddenly pieces open, and then another piece opens. And pretty soon, if you get the right sequence of moves, it opens up and becomes something else, or it opens up and reveals a secret. And the puzzle box in the novel was made in the 19th century by Emperor Meiji, the Emperor of Japan, in this very important moment in Japanese history, 1868, when the samurai were dismissed and the emperor took control of the country. And he hid something very important inside an elaborate puzzle box that had 72 moves, which is like a lot of moves for a puzzle box. And he closed it. He never told anybody what was inside. And after he died, his family, the imperial family, has been calling a puzzle master to Japan every 12 years in the year of the dragon to try to open it. And we open with Mike Brink being invited. And so he goes to Japan, and I'm not going to tell you what happens, but it gets very crazy.
Oh my God, I am so here for this. We are all so here for this. Wait, and Danielle, did I hear a rumor that you actually lived in Japan? So you went back to research, so you actually have knowledge of this.
So yeah, I lived in Japan in my 20s. I was teaching English there, and I've always wanted to write something set in Japan. I just haven't found the right moment. And I'm a little bit obsessed with puzzle boxes myself. I find them really gorgeous. They're beautifully made with like natural, different colored hardwoods. And so, yes, I went to Japan in March, and the end of March, beginning of April. And I went to the place in Japan where these puzzle boxes are made. And I saw the workshop where these sort of, basically the original puzzle boxes in the 19th century were made.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. When does this book come out? I cannot wait to read it. I must read it.
I think it's coming out September of 2024. I
Oh
don't
my
have the
God.
exact date yet, but sometime in September.
Okay, you have to come back and give us the inside scoop because I'm already dying. This is so exciting. Oh my gosh. And I cannot wait to read more about Mike Brink because when I was reading this, you write so visually and so clearly. I was picturing this on the screen. I mean, this has got to be on the screen because it's so compelling, and it's very much like The Adventures of Robert Langdon, which Publishers Weekly likened you to, saying Trussoni blends the cerebral and the supernatural in this impressive thriller that sees renowned puzzleist Mike Brink drawn into a mystery with ancient roots. Fans of Dan Brown's Robert Langdon novels would do well to pick this up, and they would indeed do well. Who else loved the Da Vinci Code? Me. I'm so excited, and congratulations on that. I mean, review. Kirk is also raving. Trussoni is at the top of her game, and Trussoni has 7 New York Times bestselling books under her belt. So Trussoni at the top of her game is #goals. Let's take a peek at what Kirk has had to say. They said that they talked about the ability to involve the reader in the puzzle making process, making the most of historic settings, including the Piermont Morgan Museum, library, and making the book's Da Vinci Code-like trappings pay off. The Kabbalah meets New York Times crossword in a brainy thriller. Ooh, brainy thriller. Yay, Renee saying, I'm going to order the Puzzle Master tonight. Okay, I'm going to pop that link to pre-order right now. And don't forget to DM or email Danielle your receipt so that she can send you that personalized, Puzzle Master book plate. And again, you guys, you're going to want to grab this for the Jewish holidays we've got coming up in September. You're going to want to grab this for Christmas, for your mother's birthday, your grandmother's birthday, your mother-in-law's birthday, all the things. Every thriller lover, history lover, there is literally something for everyone. Pre-order it tonight. Y'all, we are out of time, but time flies when you're having fun. Danielle, is there anything that you would like to spill the tea on before we close?
Well, I would just like to say that everyone should watch my social media tomorrow for some very interesting news.
Oh my God, I am so excited. I want the interesting news now because if the
I can't tell you. I'll tell you tomorrow.
If the Puzzle Master tells us it's interesting news, it's going to be #lit. See what I did there? Y'all, that is a wrap. Look how she sparkles too. This is all foil, so look how she sparkles and glistens and gleams in the light. All right, y'all, that is a wrap on Mystery Monday and the secrets of the Puzzle Master. I will be back with you next Monday. Take very good care until then.